Baklava is a popular and traditional dessert in the Middle East and in the Mediterranean area. Let's make my mom's old school traditional recipe. In a bowl, you're going to start adding 6 egg yolks and 1 full egg, a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, 350 ml of milk, 175 ml of oil, and half a cup of yogurt. And you're going to add 1 teaspoon of white vinegar. You're going to whisk all of these ingredients together well. I didn't measure how much flour you're going to add because it will vary for everybody. It will be different. I use all-purpose flour and I added enough until the dough was soft. I do like my dough to be extra soft for baklava. It should not be like a pita dough. If you can't work with that soft of a dough, you can try to add a little bit more flour to your likings. I also added a teaspoon of vanilla sugar and a teaspoon of baking powder when I added the flour. Knead the dough for a few minutes and then split it into 4 equal parts. Each part made about 15 to 19 balls. I was able to make about 80 balls in equal sizes. And then you're going to knead each small ball individually and place them in a pan. Make sure the pan is oiled. You're going to let the dough rest for about an hour. Now the fun part begins. If you don't have time, I do not suggest you making this. It did take me about 7 hours to make this baklava. You're going to use cornstarch to spread each of the small balls. You're going to spread them about the size of your hand. And you're going to take 5 of those individual small balls. You're going to use some cornstarch in between each layer if you want. And you're going to layer 5 on top. And you're going to take that 5 small layers and you're going to spread it into a large layer. The larger you spread it, the best it will be. It will be a lot flakier and better in taste. So try to spread it as wide as you can. If you spread your dough bigger than your pan, that is okay. You can use a pizza cutter to cut around it. Once you cut it around and you have the size that is desired, you'll take your sheet and then layer it on top of a pan that's layered with oil and butter so that the layer doesn't get stuck to it when it bakes. And then you're going to use these extra layers to put it in your baklava. You will try to repeat the same process 8 times. Those 8 layers will be your bottom layer. You could layer them with a butter in between, but you don't necessarily need to because you will be adding lots of butter after. Once your bottom layer is complete, you're going to start adding crushed walnuts all throughout. And you're going to repeat the same process again for your top layer. Super time consuming, but very easy to make. Once your top layer is complete, then you're going to start cutting it like you would pizza. And then you're just going to try to make those triangular baklava shape. I used 7 sticks of melted butter and 1 stick of melted butter in between the layers. Once you add all the butter on top, then you're going to bake at 500 until golden brown, and then you're going to lower it at 300 for an hour and 40 minutes. Once it's baked, you're going to let it cool. Make sure that your baklava is cool when you add your simple syrup. For the simple syrup, I just used an 8-ounce cup of coffee to measure, and it was 6 cups of sugar and 3 cups of water, although I would suggest using 7 cups of sugar. And I added 2 lemons. When the baklava is cool and the syrup is hot, you can add the syrup on top of your baklava, and it should be ready to enjoy the next day. Baklava is a sweet, flaky pastry.